Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for joining this radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about something that's pretty ominous, but I think it's going to be increasingly how things are done in the Western world. There's a real push by the globalists and their minions in the Western governments, the just little sneak fuck turncoats, to make sure that anyone who's not on board with the globalist project and not fully on board, if you're not like one of those college kids that says that transgender bathrooms is the most important thing next to climate change, the most important thing in the world, then you're not really one of us. And if you're not one of us, then we have to indirectly crush you by, say, denying you a job, denying you a bank account, and so on. Now, it may not be that you're necessarily against it or vigorously opposed to it. Maybe you're just asking questions, but that means you're not fully on board. If you're not fully on board, then you're an enemy of the people. If you're an enemy of the people, then you're a fascist. If you're a fascist, it means you're a Nazi. If you're a Nazi, it means you're fucking Hitler. So you have to be got rid of and just totally removed from the society. Removed from society at large. But when someone makes a posting on a Twitter or whatever, then you can always employ some transgender low IQ lunatic to review the post that you've made and so, well, gee, we're not having that. That's got to be that person's got to be taken off the platform or the video or post deboosted or removed or taken down completely. There are ways that you can, your message can be controlled or eliminated or prevented from getting out there. And people that are very pro-globalist, they're the ones that have to that are tasked with that. And to be pro-globalist, you have to really be anti-straight white male, because straight white males are the fucking Nazis, and we just have to fight them. So we're not really, deboosting or cancelling or anything like that. We're not doing those things. No. We're stopping Nazis. So that's the space they come from. But look, it goes beyond that, because what about if people use, they don't use their own name, Billy Bob, to do postings? Because when people apply for a job, and I've heard this a number of times now, talking to HR operatives and vice presidents of human resources and so on, and they mention it casually or in passing, or they'll drop it in as part of another conversation that unless someone's a floor sweeper or something that's an inconsequential role, and even then there'll be some fanatical left-wing pro-globalist usually white people, actually, but black too, but the proverbial black lesbian that'll be employed there, and her job will be to go, or transgender, whatever, but their job is to go and root out this Nazism, which is everywhere, and so they want to get on and see, what are you posting on social media? So they'll look up on, the Facebooks and the YouTubes, whatever, they'll look up Billy Bob and see what Billy Bob or Billie Jean or whatever is saying, and maybe you've got what you might think is innocuous. Well, gee whiz, a million new third world peasant immigrants came to my city last year, and they're defecating on the streets and so on. Is that a good idea to bring in that many people without giving them some sort of induction? And it could be fairly innocuous, stating facts and saying, well, hey, this is not a good, why? The same could be, say, the government, the road is so potholed that we can't even drive down it in a car, and why isn't the government doing something about it? We pay our tax. There could be something like that. But if the central things about what the devices the globalists are using to destroy Western white society, if you complain about any of those, or just say, look, it could be done better, then that's enough. That means that you're a Nazi. And these people in the human resource, diversity inclusion sections of the human resource department, they have a right to stop Nazis from coming in. Because if you ask anything about, well, wow, there's so many transgender Nazi, that's it, Nazi. Nothing more to talk about. Now they've quietly discovered this and decided. So they've uncovered information without getting your permission, talking to you about it, asking you about it. So they've got this, and they've ideologically decided its importance and its relevance to your job application. Now, is it going to affect the ability to do your job or the professional requirements, the credentials of the job? Well, no, not at all. But that doesn't matter, because we have to stop these Nazis. They're everywhere. As the MSNBCs and so on constantly tell us, the rise of fascism and Nazism is incredible. More fascists than anywhere. Hitler was seen going out the back door just a moment ago. That's how many Nazis are around. They're everywhere, and we got to stop. They're overwhelming us. There's only one or two of the good people left, and all the rest are Nazis. We have to fight back against these Nazi fascists. We have to fight back every fibre of our being. We have to stop them. We have to remove them from the social space. So they're looking online and making these determinations. And well, that's it. This guy actually, Billy Bob here, he did mention, he did say that there was too much money being spent on transgender bathrooms. He therefore is a transphobe. He therefore is a fascist. He therefore is a Nazi. He's therefore is Hitler. We can't employ him. That simple. But gee, Billy Bob's, he's very well thought of. His references are good. He's got good. No, he's a Nazi. End of story. That's it. He's out. So these sort of things, but it actually goes further than that. And there was an organisation that claims to be world leader in human resource onboarding, as they call it, and they go even further than this. Now, one of their claims is that they can look at that they have ways of finding out people who use pseudonyms or anonymous means to make posts. So let's say you use I don't know, your name's Billy Bob, but you use the first astronaut on the moon as a handle for your posts, and you query transgender bathrooms there. Now that means that you're registered somewhere on one of the big platforms. Now, one of these big platforms, all the big tech companies, they're very activist in stopping the Nazis. Very activist too in pouring vitriolic hatred permanently against white people, but that's okay. That's all right. Nothing wrong with that. Remember, all the straight white males that they pour hate on, they're all Nazis, so they're allowed to do it. That's okay. But even question a transgender bathroom, you're a Nazi. So they're it was inferred. It wasn't stated directly, but inferred that these platforms, these big tech platforms, are sharing that, well, actually, Billy Bob's got a handle known as first astronaut on the moon. So you can check on what Billy Bob really thinks by having a look at this first astronaut on the moon. Wow, says the angry, bitter, black lesbian in the diversity and inclusion department of the human resource section. So they know they're then being fed this information, and they're going, now this is apart from being a monstrous invasion of privacy, it's something that it's a Soviet secret police type apparatus that's developing here, where you're literally being spied on, and your private thoughts and your private moments. Now, you want to be a pedophile, so, well, that's all right, nothing wrong with that. You're just a minor attracted person. But you want to complain about transgender bathrooms or mass migration, you're a Nazi. You're a fucking Nazi. So there's this means that there's this capacity is being developed, and information is being shared without your knowledge, without your consent, without your agreement, and it's having a significant bearing on various things. If you're say you own a private business, for example, it could have a bearing on the sort of government contracts you can win, or whether or not you can get a bank account, or whether or not you can access medical care, or whether or not you can use fundraising platforms, whether or not you can get a job. It could affect and does, I believe, a wide range of things. But this is all done without your knowledge or consent. So increasingly, you'll notice that if you want to, and I notice this, even if you want to apply for somebody, well, I know this because a friend of mine's kid applied to just have a like an after school job at the local hardware store, and they had to go online and do the full application thing. And the more eagle-eyed father here looked at the terms. Well, you cannot apply for this, even it's a little shitty high school kids job. You can't apply for this part-time casual job unless you apply online and you agree to all the privacy terms. So now the privacy terms, if you start to read it, it actually says that they can use the information however they want, give that information to any third party they want to, and that third party can conduct any checks or any use that information any way they want to. Now, if you don't agree to that, then you cannot apply for the job, because you must register with that company, that multinational. You must register with them before you can apply. The registration process requires that you agree that they can use the information however they want. Now, this breach of privacy, it doesn't say how or what and what way the information will be used. It just says, we may use it at our discretion. I say how, but this is the back door that, as I understand it, they're using to be able to conduct these separate checks that the big tech giants are saying, well, Billy Bob's also got a handle known as first man on the moon or first astronaut on the moon, whatever it was. So you can now check on Billy Bob, but they would have no access to information if the big tech giants didn't secretly gather it and hand it over without your knowledge. So this is something that's going. So the surveillance state is going to happen at a number of levels. It's not just cameras in the street, but it's also background that if you have the wrong thoughts, as benign, innocuous, and in the overall scheme of things, as relevant as they may be, if you have the wrong thoughts, then you should be denied employment and access to other things in society, because they only want people who are on board with the Globalist project. And this is a way of filtering out the non-believers as they would see it. So that's very, very scary. And I think it's widespread, and I think it's happening already without people's knowledge. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.